Hi bestie, you are welcome back to my channel. Here is another tutorial on how to make this beautiful gown we are watching currently on the screen. I'm going to be teaching us step by step on how to make this rose that we are seeing, on how to attach it to the gown, how to make the gown as well. If this sounds very interesting to you, without too much ado, let's go straight into the tutorial. Please and please like, comment and share. Welcome back to the class. Here is the materials we're going to be using for this project. I have Milkado here with me. You can use poly materials. I have 1.5 yard Milkado. I have 5 years of Organdy. You can use Organser as well. But I have Organdy here. It's not really, will I call it Organdy? You can use Organdy, you can use Organser as well. I have a matching zipper. I have a lining. I'm using, like I said, this material is 5 years. This Organdy is 5 years. I'm using Milkado, like I said earlier. I'm using 1.5 yard Milkado, and I'm using doll face for the lining. Anytime I'm working with Milkado, I use doll face for lining. I have 1 yard of doll face here for the lining. You can use poly, thick poly as well. But the owner of this dress is actually looking for, I actually want to use Milkado instead of poly. So you can use poly as well. So we set this aside and we're going to go straight into the cutting of the gown, and we're going to be using pattern on this. You can actually grab this directly on your fabric, or because of the cut that we have at the front, because of that design that we have at the front. Okay, so there's a design there, there's a cutting at the front borders there. So that is why I'm using pattern to make this first. So the next thing, I enter my shoulder. When we normally do the shoulder, I'm working with is 6 inches. I enter the 6 inches shoulder, and I enter the width of my neck. I'm using 2.5 for the width of the neck, and I'm using 3 inches for the depth of the front neck, 1.5 for the depth of the back neck. The width of the neck for both of them is 2.5. The back depth is 1.5, while the front depth is 3 inches. Okay, so I've gone ahead to mark the neckline. I'm gonna ahead to connect them together. So the next I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be taking the shoulder slope. I'm using 1 inch for the shoulder slope, and I will connect it directly to the wideness of the neck. The next thing I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be inputting my armhole, and I have 6.5 inches for the armhole. Okay, the chest is 25 divided by 6 plus 1.5. I use 6.5 inches for the armhole, and I connected my line like so. So the next thing I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be entering my waist measurements. Okay, my that is half length, my shoulder to waist. My shoulder to waist here is 13 inches. Okay, I'm using 13 inches for the shoulder to waist, and the hip from that waist to the hip, we don't really need hip measurements in this gown. It's like in form of A shape. Okay, so the length of the gown I'm working with is 13 inches. From shoulder to waist is 13, while from shoulder to the hemline is 30 inches. I'm using 30 inches for the length of the gown. Okay, I just want to mark that 30 inches length and connect my lines together. And I'm going to be marking my waistline as well. So the next thing I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be connecting my armhole. And to do that, I just want to repeat my shoulder line in order to make my line to be straight. So the shoulder is 6 inches, and I will connect it directly to the shoulder slope. Okay. So the next thing, I'm going to be taking my chest circumference. Okay, the chest I'm working with, like I said earlier, is 25 divided by 4 inches, then plus sewing allowance. I'm using 8 inches plus sewing allowance here. I'm using 8, I think I added 1.5 inches or so to this dress, so I'm using 8 inches for the sewing allowance. At the waist area, the waist I'm working with is 22. I divided it by 4 and I added sewing allowance to it. I'm using 7 inches here for the waistline. So I just remove 1 inch from the 8 that I use at the chest line. And at the hip line, I have 28 inches to be my hip, and 28 divided by 4 is going to give me 7 inches. Okay, it's going to give me 7 inches, and I'm adding 4 inches extra to this hip line. I'm adding 4 inches extra. Okay, you can add more than 4 inches, but at least to make a line, you need minimum of 4 inches or 3.5, but I use 4 inches for my own, 4 inches extra for my own. I will go ahead to mark my armhole, and to do that, I'm going to take the midpoint of my armhole, the midpoint of 6.5 inches, that is what I'm taking. Okay, and I will take half an inch inward. At my armhole side, I will take half an inch inward, and I will connect my armhole directly from my chest line to my shoulder slope. I'm going to connect it directly like that. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to be connecting the chest to the waistline and straight to my hip line, which is hem line as well. Straight to my hem line. So I've connected it like so. The next thing I'm going to be doing, I don't want my hemline to be too pointy, so I'm going to be going up by 1.5 inches or 1 inch. You can use 1 inch, you can use 1.5, but I use 1.5 inches, and I'm going to take my cuff ruler and I will connect it directly like so. So this is what I have here, guys. So the next thing, I have my chest line, my half length, which is serve as my waistline, and my length, the gown length that I'm working with. So I'll first of all cut out from this pattern. I will cut the neck, the back neckline, and I will cut the back armhole. Okay, I will cut the back leg and the back armhole. Like I said earlier, we have a design at the front. So from the front depth neck, I'm going in by 1 inch. From the front depth neck, I'm going in by 1 inch, and from the hemline, which is the length of the gown, I'm going in by 4.5. You can use 5 inches as well. I think I later use 5 inches here. I use 5 inches, but I later reduce it to 4.5. From the depth of the front neck, I enter 1 inch, and at the hemline, I enter 4.5, and I connected it directly like so. Okay, that's just the design that we have there. The hemline 4.5, the front depth neckline, I took 1 inch, okay, and I connected it in a slanted form like so. There is another round like love shape at the front of this cloth, but I'm not putting it because the owner of this work does not want the chest to be open. Okay, but if you don't know how to make something like that, you can just let me know in the comment section. I will know how to explain. So here I've used my pattern. I first cut out the neck, the back neckline, and the back armhole. Okay, and I've placed it on top of my fabric. I've used it to cut the back fabric, and I remove 1.5 inches from my zipper allowance. What I'm doing now, I want to take care of my zipper bulge. I just extended my waistline to the back as well, and I took 0.75 inches inward. I connected it directly to the neckline, and I connected it to the down part as well, which is my hip side. I took is, we don't have that for this dress, and I don't want it to have a bulge at the back, so I have to take care of that bulginess like so. So I'm done with the back cutting. Okay, I just use it to cut the back fabric, the back body. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut the front neck depth and the front armhole. Okay, the front neck depth and the front armhole, and I will as well the design that we have there. I'm going to cut it out as well. Okay, I'm going to be cutting it out as well. So I think I told us earlier that I use 5 inches at the hemline and I use 1 inch at the neck depth. Okay, and I connected it directly like so. So I'm going to be cutting it out. I had to reduce 0.5 inches from that hemline. That was why I said 4.5 at the beginning. I actually took 5 inches for my own, but I later reduced it to 4.5 inches. So I'm going to be labeling this to be 1 and 2. So I'm just marking it on how I'm going to be joining it. So I will not join it in a wrong way. I'm going to cut it like that on fold and 2 pieces. The center front will be on fold, and the other side will be 2 pieces. So I've used it to cut my fabric like we are seeing it. Okay, I cut number 1 on fold, which is my center front. I cut it on fold, and I added half an inch seam allowance to the hem line. Don't forget, I've already added sewing allowance to this pattern. Okay, so the only place I'm adding sewing allowance to is the down part, is 0.5 inches, and the place I cut out where I'm going to be joining, I added 0.5 inches for the joining allowance. Okay, so this is what I have. This is how I'm going to be joining it. Okay, you can see what we have here. I'm going to be joining it like so. I will use this fabric as well to cut this pattern, to cut out lining. So the same way I cut out this fabric, the fashion fabric, I'm going to be cutting out the lining as well. So I'm just trying to pin it down to show us on how to join it. Just watch what I'm doing. I'm sorry for the quality of this video. When I was making this tutorial, I don't really have light in my area. Electricity has been giving me serious issue around here. So and I just want to, this video is on request, so I had to make it for the person, and I had to post it here because of for the benefit of other subscriber. So please and please like, comment and share, and especially please and please subscribe. So this is how my neckline is going to be looking like. Say the hem line. So I'll go ahead, like I said, and cut the lining. I'm using doll face for the line of this dress. For the lining of the dress. So here is the organdy that we have. I'm going to go ahead and cut out 9 inches. I have 5 inches here, 5 yards here. So I'm cutting it from the yardage side. Okay, from the length side, not from the width. You know, we have 60 inches by width. I cut out from the length side, from the yardage side. I cut out 9 inches, and I'm going to be go ahead and fold it and sew it. So here we have, I've already joined this cut that we have. Let me say a princess that, but it's not a princess that. So I've joined it together like so, and I've given it a good press like so. I've open pressed it, and I've cut the lining as well. I've open pressed the lining, and I've joined the shoulder. I'm very sure we know how to join the shoulder. I don't want this video to be too long. So I've joined the shoulder like so. I've joined the shoulder of the lining as well, and I've joined the dart of the lining, that place that will cut out. I've joined it, and I've open pressed it as well. So this is what we have. The next thing I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be cutting the cuff sleeve. We have a cap sleeve at this dress, a very small cap sleeve. So I'm going to be cutting it. I have my fabric folded into 2 here, and I will measure upward 5 inches, the length of the cap sleeve. I first want to use 5 inches, but it's too much. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be marking 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches, as if you want to mark a radius. 3.5 by 3.5, that's what I mark out, as if you want to mark a radius of a flame. Okay, 3.5 inches. I took 3.5 inches round. 3.5 inches round. From that folded side, I took out 3.5 inches. So that is what I'm going to be using for this cap sleeve. You can increase your own, but I'm using 3.5 inches for my own. So I'm cutting it out right now. So the next thing I'm going to be doing at the joining side, that folded side is going to be my sleeve side. That is my joining side, my opening side, my sleeve side. I hope you understand me. So I will go up by 1 inch, okay, and I will connect it like so in a slanted form. Okay, so this is what I have here. I will repeat this and cut. I'll make it 2. No, we have 2 sleeves. Okay, I'm going to be using it to line. I'm going to have 4 of these, and I will use 1 to line another. Okay, so this is what I have here, guys. I'm gonna have to join it. I actually sew the sleeve side. Okay, so that's the armhole line. I'm trying to notch the armhole side. That's the shoulder to armhole. I'm notching it, and I'm just to make a mark. And this is my clothes here, what we have joined, the main fabric, that's the fashion fabric. Okay, so I'm going to be opening it like so, and I'm going to be the shoulder of the cap sleeve that we've just cut. Okay, where I notched, I'm going to be pinning it down with the shoulder of the fashion fabric. I'm going to be pinning it down like so, and I will take it to the sewing machine and sew it. Okay, I'm going to pin it. You can see it's cap sleeve. It must not reach the end of the armhole. Okay, you must not reach at least 2 inches before the armhole. You must stop at 2 inches before the armhole. So that is what I have. I will pin the other side as well. Okay, I'm pinning the other side, the second one, and I will take my lining. Okay, I've pinned it down already. I will take my lining. Don't forget, I've already joined the shoulder of the lining as well. So I'm going to be putting my zipper. I'm going to be running the zipper. I'll fix the zipper on that main fabric like so. At the back, I'll fix my zipper. I think I've taught how to make the zipper. I'm using normal regular zip for this one. I'm not using invisible zip. You can actually use invisible. So I will place my lining on top of the fashion fabric like so. And I will make the joining of that front, that style we put at the front, I will make it equal. It must be equal. And I will make the shoulder, okay, the shoulder too must be equal. The shoulder of the lining and the shoulder of the fashion fabric must be equal. So I'm just trying to pin it down so that I'll make sure they are all equal. Okay, so that is what I'm doing. I'm pinning it together in order to make it equal. So we are going to go ahead to the armhole side as well, and I'm going to pin it. I'm going to be using this lining to cover all the rough edges that I sewn from the sleeve. I'm going to be covering it inside. I will just let my shoulder to be equal, and I will join the down side as well. I will use my lining to close the down side, the down side. So I've gone ahead to join the sleeve. So this is what we have. I've already fixed my zipper and I've closed the hem line. I've joined the hem line. I use my lining to turn in the down side. Okay, so that's the zipper as well. I've already fixed it and I use my lining to close the rough edges. So this is what we have. Like I said earlier, I don't really have a power supply right now. Okay, so I'm going to give it a good press later. So the 1.5 inches that I used to for sewing allowance of this, I'm going to go ahead and pick the 1.5 inches. I'm going to use it to join it. So here is the ruffle. I want to know how to make this ruffle. So I have a rounded shape of a fabric. Okay, it's not that round. I just used the leftover fabric. I just managed. You can say I joined it. So cut your own in a rounded form. It depends on how many years, how old you are making for. So what I'm going to do, this is our organdy. I've gone ahead to fold it together and I joined it. I turn it inside out. Okay, and I gather it a little, just a little gather. You might not gather your own because I later pleated it. So I'm going to take us to sewing machine to see how we are going to be sewing it. So you can go ahead and chalk your own, but I did not chalk my own. I just use my eyes to follow it through, but you can actually chalk it as well. So I'm going to be folding the mouth like so. I will fold it inside. Just watch what I'm doing. I'm going to fold it inside. Okay. And I will be pleating it small, like so. Don't forget I've already gathered it. So I'll be pleating it small. See the way I'm doing it. That's the first layer. So you can see the first layer. I'm done with this first layer. So I will leave 1/2 inch space and I will continue the second layer. I left 0.5 inches space and I continue with third layers as well. That's the third layer I'm doing. So I'm done with the third layer and I left 0.5 inches as well and continue with my fourth layer. I think I have like 5th layers here before I finish it inside. It's not hard. Just follow what I'm doing. You're going to get it. So this is what I'm doing right now, and this is my result. So I'm going to go ahead and join. I will pick that rounded something inside, and I will pick the empty of it, and I will join the 6 pieces together. So this is what I have here, and I'll go ahead to attach it to the gown. I'm going to pin it together and use my needle and thread to tack it. If you are watched to the extent, please comment, like and share, and most especially please subscribe. So after this, I'm going to be embellishing this. So you can use the bead, you can use stone to embellish it, and from the front that will cut out as well, you are going to use beads to embellish it. Thank you so much if you have watched to the extent. I love you people so much. Please, like I said earlier, comment, like, share, and especially subscribe. Subscribe. And this is the outcome of what I have. Like I said earlier, I'm going to be tacking it down. And until I see you in my next video, bye. Thank you so much.